You're listening to Thunder and Lightning on SuperTalk Mississippi, covering Mississippi State sports like nobody else. With Sports Talk Mississippi's Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk of On3 Sports. Now get ready for Thunder and Lightning.
It's Thunder and Lightning here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Brian Hadad and Robbie Faulk here with you on a Monday morning. Thanks for joining us here at supertalk.fm or wherever it is that you get podcasts from. Appreciate you guys out there, our great listeners, especially our servicemen and women out there taking care of us. I want to thank our sponsors over at Strange Brew Coffee House and Churn and Spoon Ice Cream. Start your day the right way with a trip to the drive-thru over at Strange Brew Coffee House here in Starkville or at Brupolo over in Tupelo. Be a little weird, Robbie, if Brupolo was in Bartow.
That would be really weird.
Not Dave Bartu.
Right.
No.
Or that would be kind of weird, too.
That would also, it'd be weird, yes.
Or, I saw Shane kind of, he gave us, he added something to the renderings at Davis Wade Stadium.
Yeah.
It would be a little weird if Strange Brew was sitting on top of the south end zone lofts or whatever those things are.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that, have we?
No, that's today.
Okay.
That's today because, Zach put that out on Friday, right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, so we had to, we haven't had
Good.
Yeah. Oh, we got plenty to talk about.
I forgot. I totally forgot we had not spoken about that. It feels like a century ago.
I mean, I'm already wondering why it hasn't already been done.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, it's like, let's get some shovels in the ground over there. Why don't we? Wherever you are in our great state, you can enjoy Strange Brew Coffee each and every morning. It's just a click away at strangebrewcoffeehouse.com. The Mississippi Beef Council wants to remind you that beef, it is what's for dinner. If you are cooking out anytime soon, nothing beats the sizzle of beef on the grill. But if you're not cooking out, hey, that's no big deal. We got so many great steakhouses here in this state. You just can't go wrong at any of them. No matter what you want to cook, make sure that beef is a part of your meals. Easy to find, easy to make it incorporated into anything that you're cooking. Delicious, nutritious. You can't go wrong. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Thanks to our friends at the Mississippi Beef Council. College Corner, collegecornerstore.com. That's the place to find the maroon and white merchandise that you're looking for. And I know that you are looking for it. It's time to get new gear. It's time to go out with the old, in with the new logos, the state script, the M over S, the interlocking MSU. That's what you want to be wearing when you come to watch the Bulldogs play. College Corner can put you in that today. 2 locations to serve you in the Jackson area. Ridgeland by Fleet Feet, Flowwood by the Half Shell, or you can shop online at collegecornerstore.com. Restaurant Tyler, Starkville's flagship restaurant for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Best meal in town is always at Restaurant Tyler. If you're a lunch person, if you're a person that's like, hey, let's go get some lunch, best place to do it is Restaurant Tyler. They have the best blue plate in the city of Starkville, maybe in the state of Mississippi. Maybe in the whole South. I don't know. I haven't tried them all, but the ones at Restaurant Tyler are always great. Robbie and I are big fans. You'll see us there often. We should see you there often. Make it your New Year's resolution. If you haven't made one already, it's not too late. Eat more often at Restaurant Tyler.
Surprise, surprise. I ate there for lunch again on Sunday. So
there you go. Priority One Bank, 16 locations to serve you throughout central Mississippi. Let Priority One Bank show you how they're going to help you invest, manage your money, and plan for the future. Now more than ever, when you're talking about your money, you don't have time to wait. You don't have time to stay on hold, to not talk to people who don't have answers. You need a level of service that you're only going to get with places like Priority One Bank. Let Priority One Bank make you their priority. Oh, hey there, Rob.
Hi.
Have a good weekend?
I did.
Good.
Yesterday was fantastic just for the basketball that was on Saturday.
So I thought about that. Like, normally we have these college football Saturdays, right? And we're like, oh, man, I can't wait. All these great games and everything. And you just watch college football from start to finish, right? I don't have it very often with basketball.
It was like that yesterday.
That was like that, because State was the early game. And then I just left it on. I watched the Florida-Georgia game. Not much there. But then I watched Ole Miss, Missouri. That was a pretty good game. And then I watched Auburn, Tennessee. Great game. And, I was flipping around. I didn't get to see the Houston, Kansas game, which apparently everybody said was really, really good. But
yeah, I had already, by that point, I was already watching Tennessee Auburn, I think, but I heard it was great. No, it was awesome. I love when State's on the road. I know, we're supposed to go to every single road game possible and not cover the games from our couches or whatever. But um, it was really nice.
Cold.
Yeah, it was really nice to just sit there all day and watch basketball, starting with Mississippi State at noon. As torturous as that game was for two halves, and working all the way to Tennessee Auburn, which was just a fantastic game that went down to the wire. I thought Missouri Ole Miss was a really good game. I thought, obviously the Kansas Houston game, would have liked to have watched that. I heard it was really good. Florida and Georgia was not a very good game, but Kentucky Vandy was awesome. It's just like this is what you're getting right now with college basketball. The product is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. It reminds me of back in the early 2000s, late 90s, how it was for a lot of us growing up watching it. But I think it's even stronger in the SEC. It might not be as strong in the ACC as it was back then. As the ACC was just absolute gauntlet, and the Big East was awesome back then. But the SEC right now is as strong as I can ever remember it, top to bottom. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about with the South Carolina game.
Mm-hmm.
I understand everyone's frustrations, and I was there too yesterday about Mississippi State. I did not think they played well. But this idea that South Carolina is just absolute,
crap.
Okay.
I'll say it.
I was trying to think of the right word to use. This idea that they are just absolute garbage juice, what we've seen from the bottom of the SEC in the past is just not accurate. This isn't a good team. Don't get me wrong. They really struggle to score. They don't have the depth. They don't have, Miles Studi being out takes away a three-point shooter, and they struggled yesterday, obviously. But this team has played 3 top 15 teams incredibly hard in a row at home. We all knew going into that game it wasn't going to be a blowout. I don't know why.
State beat South Carolina by more than Florida and Auburn did combined.
Yeah.
I mean.
And then, I understand that State's not playing very well, but I don't think people fully grasp how difficult it is right now to go win on the road in the SEC.
Right.
It's extremely hard, even against the worst team that you perceive in the SEC, which I still think is LSU. But, we'll see how that plays out. I think South Carolina has a chance to be
When do they play?
better.
I want to know.
And LSU took Alabama to the brink, but
well, yeah.
I just don't think they're very good.
They don't play until mid-February.
Okay. But it's very hard to win on the league, win on the road in the league.
So it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I cannot come away from that game being upset. There's things that Mississippi State needs to fix. Certainly, there's things they got to do better. I'm one of those people that any means necessary on the road in the SEC.
Yeah.
I don't care how it happens. Because State at home is a totally different animal.
The road is like the NCAA tournament. It's survive in advance.
Yeah.
Just get the wins. I mean,
State's played absolutely god-awful against Auburn, Tennessee, and South Carolina, and all 3 of those games were on the road. They scored 90 against Kentucky. They scored 80-plus against Ole Miss.
84.
Against an Ole Miss team that plays really good defense.
85 on South Carolina at home.
So this team is not going to – I don't think this team's going to be a 60-point team in SEC games at home.
Mm-hmm.
However you get it done on the road, I don't care. I don't want to see how the sausage is made. Unfortunately, we did on Saturday, but the end result is all that matters.
And the box score on this game is so weird.
Very weird. I was trying to dissect it yesterday, and I couldn't quite
State holds
figure it out.
Carolina to 29% shooting, but the game goes to overtime. South Carolina out-rebounds State by 15, including plus 12 on the offensive boards.
21 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And for a while, the second chance points were not that
It's 18-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
but
bad.
for a while, they had not really connected on many.
South Carolina State only shoots 6 of 26 from three-point range, but they were better than South Carolina.
They were really good in the paint. State
5 Bulldogs in double figures, but nobody with more than 15. Melendez only 3 points. Cam Matthews played possibly the worst game he's played since he was a freshman. When he was a freshman, he was a real liability.
Yeah.
This was reminiscent of that. 0 for 4 shooting, no points. He only had 2 rebounds. He did have 5 assists, but he had 8 turnovers. State had 17 turnovers. He had half of them.
Yeah, he did not play well, and I don't know what happened there. I think Chris Jan just kind of got caught up in the game there at the end. No R.J. Melendez, but I don't remember him playing deep into the ball game. Could be wrong. I don't remember him being on the floor there.
He did not get minutes in this game. He only played a total. He played 27 minutes.
And I feel like a lot of that was like most of the first half and a good portion of the into the second half. But like
in crunch time, he wasn't as much. And yet Cam Matthews was, despite the fact that he was playing so poorly.
And he made some mistakes. He had a turnover in the backcourt that led to the game tying points.
Mm-hmm.
If State just scores on that possession, they don't go to overtime. The ball game's over. State gave away in that final minute and a half. They gave the game away, and luckily, you were able to just have it tied going into overtime. And I thought defensively in overtime is where State won the ball game. They were getting stops. Keyshawn Murphy was getting rebounds. I thought Keyshawn played pretty well again. When I watched the first half, my takeaway from the offensive side of things was it felt like State was just settling behind the 3-point line. And when they get stagnant like that, which is the same kind of stuff they did against Tennessee and they did against Auburn,
stagnant. It was really rough.
The entire offense just stays behind the 3-point line. And you're getting pushed further and further back, and you got handoffs around half court, and it's not conducive to scoring points because, as you saw in that first half, it happened routinely. State's throwing up a 3-pointer at the buzzer of the shot clock or late in the shot clock. They're turning the ball over in the backcourt, which leads to points a lot of times. It just is not sustainable for this team to run that kind of offense. They're not good enough from 3-point range to do that. So what I thought at halftime, State needed to pick up the pace a little bit. We saw that a little bit. I haven't looked at the metrics on their pace, but second half I thought they did speed it up a little bit, got shots off quicker in the shot clock. Because in a game like that, where South Carolina is struggling to score, you can afford to have empty possessions.
Right.
Try to get as many possessions as you possibly can. And I thought for the most part, they did that. But what we saw in the second half, even though they didn't score as many points as they did in the first half, which is kind of hard to believe, the offense had more flow to it because they were playing more mid-range in. They were playing more to Keyshawn Murphy driving or hitting a mid-range shot or a backdoor cut from someone or a pick and roll. That stuff is where Mississippi State can really make its bread. Can you be really good in the mid-range in the post and really be good with your screens, your down screens, or your pick and rolls and getting easier baskets there? Because what that does is it opens up 3-point shots for you. In the second half, there were more open looks for this team. They didn't knock them down as much, but there were open looks. Claudio Harris got a wide open. He had a big shot, by the way, to put him up 9 in regulation, although it ended up going to overtime. You had 2 chances for Riley Kugel to hit wide open shots from the corner.
That was rough.
I couldn't believe that.
The second one, especially because he had time. He had all the time in the world to set his feet.
He doesn't miss those.
He normally does not.
So, that was tough. Those were the only 2 misses he had, I think, in the game. So the offense has got to find an identity because I thought Chris Jans made some changes at halftime. We did see more of those pick and rolls and working more from the elbow or the block as opposed to working 30 feet out from the basket. I just don't think this team is going to be good offensively when you're running your offense that far out away from the basket. So I thought second half it was much better. Like I said, even though the offense didn't show it as far as the points, I saw more flow. And then it really uncharacteristic rebounding yesterday. That hasn't been when this team has been.
Yeah.
So, again, I totally get where people are coming from, being concerned. You should be concerned. They should be playing better. I just don't believe this team is going to play like this the rest of this SEC schedule. something is going to happen with this team, I think, that it comes together, but they are certainly in a funk, I think, a little bit on offense.
Crazy that Murphy and Nwoka combined for 24 points, but only 6 rebounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just surprising.
Well, I think South Carolina did a way better job getting in position and blocking
their bigs, Pringle and Murray Bowles, combined for 24 rebounds, but they only had 15 points.
And Murray Bowles rebounded last time, too.
Yeah, but he couldn't score. For whatever reason, State does a great job on him defensively. They showed the stat. He had one good game in his career against Mississippi State. So.
State's a really good low post defensive team because they can block shots and they double really well in the post. And that maybe that's why they've struggled to defend the three, which I thought they did a better job on Saturday. But they are a very good low post defensive team.
Two things that stand out. We'll talk about the kind of the elephant in the room, but State was 5 of 9 for free throws going into overtime. In overtime, 8 of 9. They got to the line, they hit their free throws, and that's the difference in the game. They outscore South Carolina 10-5 in the extra period. 8 of those points from the free throw line.
There was a giant discrepancy in the first half and into second half of free throw line.
Yeah, I mean, even with State getting 9 free throws in overtime, they still had 11 fewer free throws than South Carolina.
That's where South Carolina was getting their points.
I mean, I got 22 points there. And then the other thing is what we talked about last week, Josh Hubbard. It continues right now. And I thought Paul Jones said this on your board, and it's true. There's a difference between shot poorly and played poorly. Hubbard shot poorly in this game. He was 4 of 15 shooting, but he had 5 assists with no turnovers. And I thought defensively he was really solid for Mississippi State. I can handle that version of Josh Hubbard. I cannot handle this version of Cam Matthews. That's got to change. State's got 2 tough games this week, and then they get the bye. Once they play Missouri on Saturday, they don't play again until the 8th. So they have a week to try to get everything sort of set up and put back together. 2 huge home games this week. 2-0 would be very good.
Have to win,
but as long as you get 1, you're okay.
And I watched Missouri for the first time last night.
They're good.
They're good. They're very fundamental. They can shoot it. They play solid defense. It's a well-coached team. They look nothing like they did last year. But I don't have a huge problem with how Josh Hubbard's playing right now. I don't think he's shooting well. He's definitely struggling, especially from 3. And I think I liked what Shane Power said on the show last week about him. He needs to play more to his mid-range game than he is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If you remember last year, he was really good whenever he was getting to his spot from the mid-range and rising up and firing from there. Very good mid-range game. And that just kind of does a lot of different things for you. He can get to the rim. He can, defenses really have to account for that. And right now they're just kind of accounting for him shooting threes and defending him out there, and he's kind of settling. But the overall offense, the defense, he's playing good defense. He's handling the ball most of the time, and he's not turning it over.
Right.
That's a big, big plus. So that's the good news if you're worried about Josh Hubbard is the rest of his game is actually expanding. He's actually becoming a better overall player.
Yeah.
And that comes with, I think, the fact that he understands that right now the shots aren't falling and he has to make up for it in other ways. And yesterday I thought he distributed the ball really well. I thought he had a really nice play where he kind of drew the defense to him and then he dished it off, I think, to Keyshawn Murphy for a bucket. He's really becoming a more well-rounded player and not just a scorer. But you've got to have him become more of a dead-eye shooter than he is right now. You're not getting much from him on those three-point shots. And when you are a team that shoots a lot of three-pointers, there's going to be a lot of one-and-done possessions just because you have a lot of long rebounds. You're not going to be in position every time to get those rebounds.
Right.
So if you miss it, the likelihood of that being the end of your possession is very high. So that's kind of what you're dealing with when he's shooting shots right now is it's almost giving a possession away. So, and a lot of these shots that he's taking right now are not bad. He's getting good looks. They're just not falling.
I look at this team they're in a funk. There's no since the Kentucky game, really. I mean, I know they scored 84, like you said, on.
They're just not. They're not playing their best.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's no denying that at all. Offensively, what has this team been since they scored 90 points on Kentucky? That they've struggled. 90 on Kentucky, and then Auburn, they only scored 66. They score 84, but that's in overtime. 77 in regulation, 56 on Tennessee, and then 65 in overtime in this game. Coming out of the Kentucky game, they were averaging like 84, 85 points a game. And so they something is not clicking offensively with this team. That was clicking for them if you go back and their other games. Now, that being said, like you said, it is very much survive and advance on the road. So you can't be too, Florida won at South Carolina by a point. Auburn won by 2. We saw Kentucky lose to Vanderbilt on Saturday. That win continues to age very well for Mississippi State.
Yep.
A road win at Vanderbilt.
Back-to-back top 10 wins.
They beat Tennessee at home last week. They beat Kentucky this week. But Mississippi State was able to go in there and get a win.
By double digits.
State's got some big road games coming up. Got some good opportunities. Georgia, that's a winnable game on the road. Ole Miss is in a little bit of a funk right now as well. The difference between State's funk and Ole Miss's funk is that State is finding ways to win games.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss has lost 3 straight. That's going to be, in Oxford, 3 weeks from yesterday, I believe. That's going to be a tough one. At Oklahoma, that's a winnable game for Mississippi State. Oklahoma's not playing great basketball by any stretch of the imagination. And then they finish the season at Fayetteville. The Hogs are just not a good team. They're just not. There's just no getting around that. So
I thought they were going to win against Oklahoma, and they
did not
lose.
I thought Texas A&M was going to win at Texas. They blew a 22-point lead. Tennessee had the late lead at Auburn. It's tough to win on the road. I mean, this is something that we're about to get into baseball where people are going to be like, ball 1, game over, season over. Just end it. But it's like you got to have some patience. If you win, it doesn't matter what it looks like.
If you're one of those like prisoner of the moment fans, this season is not the season to follow SEC basketball.
No,
it is not. There's going to be nights like we saw at Auburn and Tennessee. Mm-hmm. There's going to be nights like that for this Mississippi State team. There's going to be nights like that for everybody. Guess what? Tennessee lost by 30 on the road.
Yeah.
Teams are getting embarrassed on the road in some of these games. It's very difficult to go get a road win. So if you get one, for the love of God, cherish it.
You've got to cherish
it. You do.
It.
So if they ever come your way, if you ever get one, take it, buddy. Mississippi State moved into the top 20 net again. Mm-hmm. They're up to 20th. Ole Miss has actually dropped below Mississippi State. They've dropped 5 spots
they've lost 3 straight losses.
So,
and then you see A&M loses. That's not
Vanderbilt has moved up to 37.
That's going to stay quad 1 all year for State.
That is and Memphis is still in the top 50. So that both of those road wins are humongous right now.
Well, they say top 75.
Yeah, both of them are going to be unless Memphis.
SMU also. SMU at 44.
Still hanging in.
That's not going anywhere.
So these road wins, folks. I continue to tell people, like, you got to get out of your mind what's happened the last 2 years with Mississippi State in the NCAA tournament, the bubble or whatever. State right now is in position. You just win games.
By the way.
Just find wins somewhere. You are going to have a good draw in the tournament.
McNeese up to 59. So if they can get into the top 50, that's quad 2.
And they're probably that's a team that's probably going to win their.
They'll win their conference, and it'll be like it's a good.
Because since State played them, which I think they had lost like 3 or 4 games, they're now 13-5, so they're not losing.
They're not losing games.
They are 12-1 against quad 3 and quad 4 teams.
What is Butler now? Because I know they've had a tough season. They're down to 85. That's
not a good one.
That's not a good loss. Yeah.
Now. That was neutral site, so that'll help some.
It does help,
but you're looking at that's probably going to be a quad
3 when it's probably
quad 2 at best.
Yeah,
and it's probably going to be quad 3.
It is what it is. So
yeah, you have enough wins in there that it's kind of nobody's really talking about that game right now. So
moving forward, Mississippi State, as we said, Alabama on Wednesday, 8:00 tip should be an interesting one at the Hump, and then next Saturday, I believe noon at the Hump. take on the Missouri Tigers. Both quad one opportunities, I believe, for Mississippi State. Missouri's quad one, right? I know Alabama is. Missouri's 24th. So right now, as it sits, that's a quad one game. All right, let's move into the rest of the show. That's brought to you by our friends over at Two Brothers Smoked Meats and the Older Brother. Robbie and I dined at the Older Brother on Friday.
We've dined with kings and queens at the Older Brother, and what's
Well, I had McDonald's, so that would have been porky bean.
There you go.
I had McDonald's today, so we finally got a look, is what I was going to say though, at the Older Brother dinner menu. And buddy, you need to go check out the Older Brother for weekend dinner. It's a limited menu. It's a small dinner menu. All of the lunch stuff I think is still available. You can still get your sandwiches if that's what you want to go with, but they've added some steaks, some chops. It looks really good. So check that out. The Older Brother, one of our favorite new restaurants in Starkville. And of course, Two Brothers Smoked Meats, the home of smoked Southern soul food, right there in the Cotton District. Two of the best places you'll find. Great products, great service. Every business likes to promise it to you. They deliver it to you at Advantage Business Systems. That's what they've been doing for 50 years.
50.
That was a little creepy there.
You got scared?
No, not creepy in that way.
I was building anticipation.
Patient. I got you. When you need a new copier, a new printer for your business, any kind of new technology, give Advantage Business Systems a call. And then if you need service on something they've sold you, that's a simple phone call away. Not a phone call to a call center that's going to put you on hold for the rest of the day and then set up an appointment with you for somebody to come from out of state that maybe they'll be there next week. Imagine if your copier is broken. Can you go a week without copies? Without making copies? Making copies. You can't do it. So that's why you need to deal with the people at Advantage Business Systems. 601-362-9192 or visit them online, absms.com. Find out how Advantage Business Systems will help your business do business. Before you go to the next game here in Starkville, we got 2 this week. You need to make sure you make a trip to Maroon & Co. Get some new gear. It's cold, it's wet, it's rainy outside. Get a new MSU pullover, new hoodie, new jacket, new whatever. Get it at Maroon & Co. and use our promo code Thunder15 to save 15% off regular price. Some exclusions do apply. Whatever you're looking for, maroon and white, it's at Maroon & Co. They have the biggest and best selection in Starkville. If you're in Starkville and you need Mississippi State gear, the only place to go is Maroon & Co. All right. On Friday, Zac Selmon. Let's give Zac Selmon a little credit. All right. He's taking some heat. He's taking some heat on this program.
He has.
But if there's anything that you can know about Thunder and Lightning, is that we will always give credit where credit is due.
Nobody can say different.
That's why when they announced the LED lights, we took full credit because we take credit where credit is due. This is one though for Zac Selmon, and Mississippi State has put out some master plans in the past, right? They've put out some. I don't recall them being as detailed and being as put together. This is clean.
Campus wide.
Yeah.
I don't remember many that have been released.
And this is about athletics. It's not a master plan for campus. It's about athletics. I thought this was well done by Zac Selmon. A lot of necessary and needed improvements. A lot of stuff that, I hadn't considered. And I think, wow, when I read about it, I was like, that sounds like a great idea. It feels like Mississippi State is moving forward. And it feels like this is a master plan that, let's just say Zac Selmon does find a better job and decides he wants to move forward. I feel like this is a plan that a new athletic director would come in and be like, this is the master plan. New guy, if you want to make a tweak, you can make a tweak. But we're moving forward with this plan because this feels like they've done the work, the research, and the prep to put forward a plan for Mississippi State going forward. Yeah,
and you have it. I mean, you have to deal with the blowback from fans too because now you've released this to the fans. That's the difference I've seen. Like I've seen a lot of people say, bring that argument up, and I totally understand where they're coming from. Because,
I don't think it's a huge issue either.
Well, John Cohen did have plans for the South End Zone. They changed a couple of times, and he was he never really committed to one thing or the other.
Right.
And so that's why whenever Selmon came in, that's why you saw the scrapping and trying to make his own deal. It wasn't just because you get a new AD, you make those changes. Because State has changed ADs and kept with the same projects that they had planned.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's not necessarily, tied to the AD.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people were involved in this. I don't think this is just a Zac Selmon thing too. But I really like the ideas, especially the concepts in the south end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Was not expecting these 2 video boards on the side,
Correct.
but I think I can live with that. Symmetrically works fairly well. When you look at the south end zone, the north end zone, how the scoreboard club's set up, with the exception of the scoreboard, it does work symmetrically, and it looks a whole lot better than the M Club building sitting there.
Yeah.
And kind of breaking it down a little bit, when you look at it, you have a field level viewing area, a lot like the gridiron, with even more space, it looks like. You have these chair back, loge type seats above it. And then you have lofts, which very cool concept. And on top of that, you have like a rooftop deck, really cool area. It's modern, it's cool, it's not over the top as far as adding seats to your facilities. So I think it's still manageable for this fan base to make it to these games and fill up the stadium a little bit. But it's good, man. I like it. I like the idea too, even if it's kind of inconvenient to think of right now. It's all walking areas around the stadium now.
Yeah.
This basically pushes into BS Hood, which is right there between Barnes and Noble. It's going to protrude out a little bit more, and that's what most SEC schools do. There's not a whole lot of driving area around stadiums like that anymore. Right. So Mississippi State is becoming more walkable. It's going to be easier for fans to move around, things like that. Even if that is usually roped off or whatever. Anyways,
right.
It just looks more like an SEC stadium. So concepts look really good. I have no clue when this is going to happen.
No.
I imagine it's way down the road.
Well, the first 2 things on the list were lights and sound.
Yeah.
Those will happen soon. We obviously know lights is coming. That was announced. I assume I'm making a big assumption, but I feel like sound's going to happen this year too.
I believe so. I don't like I've reported on the board. I don't think there's been anything decided yet, but I still think there's going to be improvements there.
Yeah.
On the west side, replace entire existing lower bowl where it says program of needs. Is that chairbacks? What is that?
I don't know the answer to that.
Originally that was the plan like 2 years ago. Was the west side especially was going to be chairback like across the board. I think there was talk at one point to have kind of like something similar to the balconies, but down there. But I think that got scrapped. I wonder if that's the case. I still think that it would be a really good investment to make the stadium chairback.
I agree with that.
It's probably going to cut down on your seating, which I think, there was some back and forth on Twitter on Friday about this. Like, a lot of people think there needs to be bowled in. I don't think it makes sense for Mississippi State at this stage to add a whole lot more seats. It doesn't.
Right. No, I do.
Mississippi State has got to become more like, I think Texas Tech did this. I think Oklahoma State did it. Upgrade your amenities over upgrading your seating. Used to, that was the thing. We got to add more seats. And so you just add concrete and put bleachers up, whatever. Now it's all about aesthetics and amenities and how the experience is at games. Upgrading the fan experience, I think, is the biggest investment that Mississippi State can make, even if it's taking away seating, which I think they need to do. Look at the upper decks.
Agree. I think, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I think if we could go back in time, you never build the second deck.
Yeah.
You go ahead and just bowl it.
But back then, when you went to games in 97 and 98 and 99, you were well over 80% capacity. And I've always been told, when it comes to like churches, when you're 80% capacity at church services, you're too full.
Yeah.
You need to find ways to add more seating or change services.
They would have bowled in the north first.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see.
I'm not saying not to have expanded. I'm
just
saying
make it.
They wouldn't have put another deck up.
I think it was a symmetrical thing.
I mean, I get that, but at the same time,
I never understood why there was just the west side upper deck.
Yeah,
back then.
In reality, they should have been bowling in the stadium years ago.
Yeah,
and then you could add a deck, and it could be the state's upper deck is so high. It's I don't know where it is now, but back in the day, it was like second to Wyoming or something in elevation. The elevation of the stadium. Yeah, it's high.
What probably should have happened, like back in I don't know when the upper deck was put up, maybe like the 50s, 60s, I don't know. But back then, I think it would have just been better to start horseshoeing the lower bowl.
Right, I agree.
And then come back later and do the upper deck if we needed to, whatever. But just looking through this list here.
What else? Getting away from football a little bit. What else stood out to you about this plan? I mean, Dudy Noble's getting some.
Yeah, we knew about Dudy Noble because we reported that. People got angry about that, and after we had talked with Zac Selmon.
Yeah.
People got really angry that they were doing baseball, and what we tried to tell them, and they still did not want to hear it was a master plan. This is for everything.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the restaurant in the outfield.
We're definitely going to go watch some road games there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that's I want to say, I don't know where I heard this, and I guess Zach might have said it, or it might be in this master plan about like the restaurant is a way to utilize what you got. I mean, you have a special venue right there. It's kind of like bringing concerts to Dudy Noble Field, utilizing that space for something more than baseball.
Yeah.
Bring more, because in the plans it said something about having maybe like tours or allowing like a place where people could walk around inside the stadium more than just for baseball games.
Yeah.
If you have something like that you consider one of the best in the country,
people want to see it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, MLB stadiums take tours all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, why not take it? Why not have
it's a way, like it said in I think what Zach does so well is figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
He knows how to make money. You can say what you want to about Zac Selmon. You can have your opinion on him.
I can say what I want to about him.
Well, you've done it before, haven't you?
That's true. I have.
You can say what you want to about him, but the man knows how to make money, and he's showing it, every month now, it seems like. Got a $2 million donation again from Bo McInnes, who has done a lot with Mississippi State baseball over the years.
Yeah.
But Zach knows he's always searching for ways to make money. That's what when we talk to him about state's revenue and kind of where it was, he's trying to figure out how to make more money. Concession stands have gone up. Ticket prices have gone up. That's been
consider. We haven't talked about. This is a 10-year plan, right?
Yeah.
The first couple of years are going to be about fundraising. It's not going to be like we're just dipping into the reserves or whatever. Got to get money in there. Because
as Zach told us, when he does these projects, he wants to fundraise for them. He doesn't want to use their revenue.
Didn't happen with the previous administration, like some of the the softball and some of those were just funded through reserve.
So the revenue and stuff like that.
And now you're in a little bit of a problem. I thought
that's smart business.
Oh yeah. I thought the biggest thing to take away was media being moved in both Dudy Noble and Davis Wade.
Apparently, I didn't see this on the plans, but somebody told me that the media is moving to the lofts, maybe to the
rooftop.
To the rooftop.
Just keep the bar open, and I'll be fine.
Well, as long as we're not sitting in the elements.
No, you got to cover. Yeah, build another level.
If we're sitting in like a box or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to complain.
No, I don't want to be
there to cover the game. I don't want to be sitting in 30-degree temperatures.
When it does rain and we have rain delays, my laptop is out there. I got to have something covering that.
This can't be amateur hour like Swayze Field.
I know where we'll be for football. I'm almost positive I know where we'll be.
That same spot we were at
for the spring game a couple years ago.
Yeah, the only issue is
we've been saying that for that side of the year feels
the
like
only issue is
that
the east side. The sun.
The sun is but the the press box is premium seating.
It is.
Like, it's the same thing we're talking about with the staff, and apparently the staff is finally going to start paying. And look, if you're an MSU staffer, if you're a faculty member and you're mad, I can't help you. You know, the bad apples have spoiled the bunch.
Yeah,
for
and
you
if you're one of those people that you're there religiously every Saturday, I feel bad for you.
I feel bad. I have empathy for
but
you.
There's so many people out there that are using those tickets to sell them on third-party markets, and they're getting
one bad apple.
And
not just one bad apple. Go look at the Georgia game a couple
you
years ago.
can't have those people, and you
That's
can't.
premium seating area.
And the response is, well, we put them on the third party. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Those tickets,
is they're able to go to that market, and they're getting those kind of.
But the same thing with the press box. I mean, that is, you can turn that into a really nice new club level so easily.
Everybody's moving away from media being in the 50.
It's fine. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have any issues with that.
Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised they didn't put us in the end zone. Like,
which
the east side,
which is what Cohen was wanting to do,
which is fine too. I don't care, but
I do care. I don't like being. It's just terrible for your sight lines.
It's interesting you say that. I love sitting in the end zone because you can see the place.
You've been to Auburn though. You know how Auburn's set up.
Auburn is different though. It's so poorly set up. You can't even see the scoreboard.
But I think we do need a point of view a little better than what we'd see because I mean we're going to be constantly on. I can't tell where the down marker is. I don't know
what baseball is right now.
Yeah,
like
baseball's
in the second row at the press box.
The baseball press box is a monstrosity.
It's awful.
Whoever came up with that,
it's awful.
Like I don't know what to tell you.
I'm not complaining about anything. I'm not. I'm just saying that there are places you sit in that press box and you can't see home plate from where you sit. And if you're not on the first row, you literally cannot see. All you can see is the pitcher's mound and like second base to first.
Yeah.
That's all you can see. So I'm glad they're making some changes. But yeah, this master plan, it's exciting. It's good. It's good stuff for Mississippi State. Zac Selmon, has taken some heat about his vision for Mississippi State.
He's stacking wins right now.
He's doing it. There's one more, man. Just lay it in, Zach. Just tap it in. Put that sticker on the helmet and call it a day. Tap it in.
Give it a little tap.
Why don't you just go home? Anyway.
Right now, Zac Selmon is feeling the flow, doing the bull dance.
He's doing the bull dance? He's feeling the flow?
Right now, he's feeling the flow.
Working it.
Doing the bull dance.
All right. Tomorrow's show, we'll talk Mississippi State, Alabama. Start getting ready for that. And anything else popping up, we'll discuss it. So I'm starting looking at some football stuff in terms of that roster is just what it is. So we'll go into that as well. Guys, have a great Monday. Back with you on Tuesday. For Robbie Faulk, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening to Thunder and Lightning here on Super Talk, Mississippi.